Hey, thank you all for joining us. We're excited to have you. We're here today with Healthy Schools Campaign with our webinar, which is part of our green cleaning series called Blue Green Cleaning Beyond Chemistry. So we're excited to have you all here. First of all, as I mentioned, this is part of a series. So if you'd just like to make sure you all know, we have a total of 5 webinars that are coming up. Green Cleaning and Healthy Students, one specifically around school administrators, one focusing on our ASNU awards for schools and universities, because we want to help everyone promote the great work that our schools are doing, learning from the leaders, and then finally a teacher's role in a successful green cleaning program. So if anything piques your interest or some of your colleagues that you'd like to share, please let them know or join us later this summer. All right, of course, with our webinar, please join us in multiple levels. Listen in, ask questions. Also, follow us on Twitter. Tweet GreenClean 2013 to share your thoughts. Be part of the conversation. We will be more than excited to participate, answer questions. If you have questions tomorrow or the next day, we are available for conversation on our through social media. A little bit about logistics before we get started. I just want you all to know that our webinar will run approximately 1 hour. A recording will be available online. It should be up by the end of the week, so it will include downloads for the presentations that you see here today. Finally, when you do exit, there will be a very short, less than 1-minute survey at the end. I believe it might be at top 2 questions. Please answer this, help us, because that helps us design our webinars and our available programming up in the future. That would be tremendously helpful. Also, the last 15 minutes of our presentation is going to be a Q&A. So if you have questions at any point, there should be a little box in your computer, in your GoToWebinar interface that says questions. Type it in, and we will get to them at the end. We have my colleague here, Alex Scheibel, will be collecting them, going through them, and then we'll go through them with us afterwards, and we'll be able to ask our expert panels all sorts of questions. Let's see. A little bit about today. Let me first talk about our speakers. Mark Bishop from Healthy Schools Campaign, that's me. In addition to me, and for those who don't know, I'm Vice President of Policy and Communications here at the Healthy Schools Campaign. Also, we have 3 excellent speakers who have tremendous experience with green cleaning in their schools. They are all award-winning schools from the American School and University Green Cleaning Awards. That is done in conjunction with the Green Cleaning Network and the Healthy Schools Campaign. So we have Michael Sheenan from Lower Merion School District, Olivia Klaus from Howard County Public Schools, and Alan Rudd from Temple University Health Sciences Center. All right, so let's begin. First of all, the introduction is we are Healthy Schools Campaign. We are not-for-profit. We're located here in Chicago, but our programs are both local and national in scope. We work on the kind of the intersection of asthma and obesity and health and environment in schools. And green cleaning is a major focus of the work that we do. Around 7 years ago, we published our Quick and Easy Guide to Green Cleaning in Schools, which is our platform for engagement, education around the importance and the value of green cleaning for our schools. In addition to the actual publication, we have our website. We have a newsletter that goes out. We do everything we can to promote green cleaning, the value and the importance of it, as well as speak to the public about how we can implement and do healthier, more sustainable, more effective cleaning in our schools. The publication that we put out, we have a series of over 25 national organizations, including the American Federation of Teachers, school administrators, business officials, all to help us promote and support green cleaning, because we understand that it is of value and importance to a broad range of school stakeholders. So now a little bit on topic. Let me start by just saying, what is green cleaning? When we talk about green cleaning in a Healthy Schools Campaign, we talk about cleaning to protect health without harming the environment. And that's very deliberate wording. We say health first, environment second, because cleaning is about protecting health. And we will never make recommendations or promote programs that don't first and foremost take steps to promote the health of students in schools. Second, a cleaning program a green cleaning program above and beyond, and take steps to not harm the environment. And the environment is both the indoor and the outdoor environment. We want to make sure that we're reducing the footprint that we impart on the earth through reducing transportation and the manufacturing process. But also, we want to reduce the impact of the indoor environment to make sure that we have a healthy learning environment so schools can do what they are meant to do, and that is teach their kids, not take care of sick or ill students. We also must understand that green cleaning, there really is a definition of sustainable cleaning. It's through the executive order that was set out a number of years ago, and it's looking at products and services that reduce health and environmental impacts compared to similar products and services used for the same purpose. And again, this is very important because we are looking to do things. We are not looking to sacrifice effectiveness or quality for health or environment. We are looking at improving quality and at minimum making sure we're maintaining healthy, quality, and clean environments. So why do we care about green cleaning? We lay out 5 key areas that we think are important, and I'm not going to go into detail about any of this. But to at least outline the 5 reasons why we care. And the first one is helping students stay healthy and learn. This is key. We think, again, in order to support a school, we have to have healthy students. Green cleaning and the reduction of exposures to toxic chemicals are an important part of making sure students can stay in the classroom and be healthy and ready to learn. Second, we want to make sure we're protecting the health of custodial staff because we do know the rates of occupational asthma and the rates of exposures to potentially toxic chemicals are enormous for our custodial staff. And we need to take steps to make sure that this audience and this population are protected and healthy. Increasing the lifespan of our facilities. Through a green cleaning program, we can take steps to use products that are going to be less harsh for our surfaces, to help us maintain our carpets better, to help us make sure that we are actually investing in maintenance and doing things to help expand the lifespan of the buildings that we work in and that we all pay into through our public tax dollars. Preserving the environment, I mentioned, we want to reduce our footprint. And finally, fiscal responsibility. And that goes back to proper maintenance and making sure that we are actually supporting a long life for our facilities, but also making sure that we are using modern techniques in our cleaning programs that help us more efficiently run our buildings. So we can put cleaning dollars towards efficient cleaning programs, and we can put education dollars into the classroom. So a little bit about what this particular webinar is focusing on. We call it Blue-Green Cleaning Beyond Chemistry. So before, so just to give a little bit of overview, I want to give a little bit of a background. We published our Quick and Easy Guide to Green Cleaning in Schools 7 years ago, and shortly thereafter began the Green Cleaning Award for schools and universities. When we first started talking about green cleaning, our focus was about chemicals. Our focus was about how can we make sure that schools are using green cleaning chemicals and that they are looking towards third-party certification and looking towards Eco-Logo, Green Seal, the Design for the Environment program. And that was really where the conversation started, and in many ways didn't progress too much further. What we have seen since the launch of our guide 7 years ago is that there has been a dramatic change. And we realize that not only does the discussion not necessarily begin at certified chemicals, but it definitely doesn't end there. We're realizing there is a lot more that we can talk about when we want to talk about green cleaning that goes beyond chemistry. So when we talk about green cleaning beyond chemistry, we look at 4 different areas primarily. We look at assessment and evaluation, making sure that we know what's going on in our buildings and what strategies can we implement to be healthier and cleaner. We look at prevention. We know that what we have to do, the first thing that we have to do in our green cleaning program is keep dirt out of the building. And by doing that, we are able to, again, look beyond the chemistry and look towards those procedures that will help us. Third, we want to look through process. We have to make sure that we have efficient, standardized process, but we also have training involved to make sure that we are bringing our custodial staff in our services up along with us, and them realizing the role that they have in a healthy and clean indoor environment for our students. And then last, we say equipment. Very often when we talk about going beyond chemistry, people jump right towards the equipment side, which is a very important discussion, but it's definitely not everything. But there's a lot of technology nowadays that is helping us clean buildings more efficiently and doing so in a way that reduces potential exposures to our students, whether it's water-based cleaning technologies, microfiber knobs, touch-free cleaning, or many other areas. So, having said that, we're going to poll question.
Yeah.
And so I am going to now, I'm going to be introducing our first speaker, Michael Sheehan. But before I do so, I am going to ask a question of everyone. And the first question is a very simple question. But who are you? We had a few questions. We want to hear a little bit more about who's out there. So take a moment. Take a moment and make sure to answer the question. I'm going to introduce Mike. Mike Sheehan is a custodial foreman for the Lower Merion School District. He supervises all custodial operations for the district's 1.5 million square feet of facilities, including the selection and procurement of cleaning supplies and equipment. Prior to joining Lower Merion School District in 2004, Mike was employed by Merion, supervising contract custodial and maintenance operations for school districts in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts. We threw in here that Mike was born and raised in Rhode Island. And you got to mention that Lower Merion received a Green Ribbon School Award this year. So congratulations to Lower Merion. So before I let Michael start, let's take a look at who we have in attendance. It looks like we have 31% school staff, distributors, nonprofit, 7% manufacturers, and about a third is going to be other. So we've got a nice diverse group. All right, so having said that, let us go. Michael, the floor is yours.
Okay, well thank you, and thank you for inviting me today. Just to give you a background on our school district, we have 10 schools in the district, 7,682 students, not counting the administration building and transportation building and the facilities operation office, which also has technology here. We have about 1.5 million square feet. They're projecting a higher enrollment, much higher. So we're going to actually start putting additions on at 2 of our elementary schools this summer. And they're actually even talking about the 2 new high schools, which are LEED certified, which opened, the first one opened in 2009. That was Harrison High School. And the second one, Lower Merion High School, opened up in 2010. At the time, we were looking to go for a silver LEED. Actually, we did a couple of things, and just last week we got told that Lower Merion High School is going to get the gold certification, which we were really excited about. But they're actually talking about even adding an addition to the high schools already because of the high enrollment that's going to be coming up. After the 2 high schools opened up, our 5-year plan was to gradually move the green cleaning into the other 8 remaining schools. We're into our 3rd year of doing that now. And you know, we still have a ways to go, but we're on the right track. Next slide. So when we were looking at opening up the 2 new high schools, the 3 main things that we wanted to look at was walk-off matting systems, equipment, and buying safe, environmentally friendly products that had third-party certification. Next slide. This is a picture of the entrance to Harrison High School. We have, as you can see on the outside entrance, and I'm not trying to be a salesman, so anything that I'm going to show you, I'm not trying to promote any particular manufacturer or anything. This is just what we've used here in the district that's worked very well for us. We purchased Anderson matting, and on the outside entrance you can see a brush hog scraping mat. On the inside foyer, it's the same type of carpet as that long runner, but they're actually carpet tiles. And then we have a 10-foot runner as you come into the building. So we want to try and keep as much debris and moisture from entering the building as possible. So we have about 25 to 30 feet of matting as you walk into the main entrance. Next slide. We purchased the Water Hog Eco Premier matting. The matting is made from 100% post-consumer recycled face from plastic bottles. The backing of the mat is 15 to 20% post-consumer recycled content made from tires. It holds up to 1.5 gallons per square yard of moisture. And like an older mat that's thin, that, you know, if you have a heavy rain and the mat gets soaked and it absorbs into the mat, this doesn't do that. These mats do not absorb the water. It just collects it and it dries it out on its own. Next slide, please. So one of the things that we looked at as we were opening up the 2 new high schools, one of my vendors brought to our attention microfiber systems. This picture here is a double bucket, and the way that works, those 2 buckets actually can come out. You can take them out separately, so you're not lifting up the whole bucket. On the left side, where the ringer is, you put about 3/4 of a gallon of just clear water. And then on the bucket on the green side, you put your cleaning solution. After you've mopped the floor, instead of putting the mop back into the cleaning solution to rinse out the mop, you put it in the clear water. Microfiber holds the dirt much better than a regular cotton mop or a cotton rag. And then when you wet it, the dirt just releases and drops right down. So by rinsing it out in the water, you're keeping the chemical clean, constantly having clean chemical to use, compared to a conventional mop bucket where you might be changing the mop bucket anywhere from 5 to 6 times a night, because you're doing classrooms and you get through 3-4 rooms, and then the mop bucket is dirty, and then you got to run to the closet and change it. So we're saving a lot of chemical and water. Microfiber uses about 70 to 75% less chemicals and water than conventional mop buckets. So that's a lot of chemical that's being saved from going down the waste stream. Next slide, please. This is another part of the microfiber system. This is a pre-treated system. If you look at the top where the mop holder is, to the left there's a little gray button, and if you push down on that button, the mop frame actually collapses into like a V shape. The way this works is you can put 20 to 25, well, you can put actually any amount of mops in it that you want in the top container. And there's a chart that tells you, depending on how many mops you were using, how much chemical to use. For example, you can put 20 mops into the blue container, and you only need to use 1.5 gallons of cleaning solution. What you do is you put the mops in, pour the cleaning solution in, seal the container, flip it upside down, and you let it have a chance 10 minutes to 15 minutes to let it absorb, and then all the mops are ready to go for the night. As you mop the classrooms or whatever area you're mopping, once the mop gets dirty, you just push that button on the handle and you put the dirty mop down on the bottom bucket, the gray bucket. So you're using much less chemical. You're not going back and forth to change the water. It really works well. The custodians at first were having issues with it. They weren't getting the right mixture, and they either were saying, well, it's too dry, or they're putting too much chemical in. But as they adjusted, they love it. And actually, this company, CPI, also has a washing machine that you can buy. It's a very small unit that you can buy. I've got 2 of them, and I've got them right next to a custodial slop sink, and you can wash the microfiber with that machine. Next slide. One other thing on the microfiber, I'm sorry. They're all color-coded. The mops are color-coded, and the cloths are color-coded. So that prevents cross-contamination. Like the blue is for general areas, classrooms, hallways, auditoriums. We have red that is to be used in restrooms only, and green is for kitchen and cafeteria only. So it prevents cross-contamination. This particular machine is a Nobles Echo auto scrubber. When we were looking at new machines for the high school, Harrison opened first. We tested about 4 different auto scrubbers, and one of the things that really sold us on this, at the old Harrison High School, the quarry tile floor in the kitchen, the grout was in terrible shape. We had tried to clean it with everything, including muriatic acid, which of course is very dangerous to use. We put the brushes on this machine and ran over a little area, and the grout actually started to come up white and clean, and that's what really sold us on this machine. This machine uses only water. You don't use any cleaning chemicals. It starts out as water. It goes through an electrically charged component that's inside the machine. It starts off as water. It goes through and gives it electrical charge, positive and negative charge, and that lasts for about 45 seconds, and then it turns back into regular tap water. Next slide. This is a great machine. We just bought this machine last summer. They just came out with this. This actual machine is from Factory Cat. It's a Magnum. It's actually a scrubber and stripping machine. The pad is on this particular machine is 28 inches by 14 inches in diameter. The great thing about this, the machine weighs 886 pounds with the batteries in it. It's got a low decibel rating of 63. It has a deck pressure from 0 to 250 pounds. So if you're stripping a floor, you don't need to use stripper. You only use water. We use a surface preparation pad, which 3M makes. And you can do approximately 5,000 square feet per pad, about 2,500 square feet on both sides. When we demoed this machine, we did a hallway, and only one guy needs to run this machine. We did a 1,000-foot hallway in 39 minutes, and it took it right down to the bare floor, just using water. So you're not using stripper. You're not having 4 or 5 guys with a rotary machine and another guy throwing stripper on the floor and another guy with a wet back. Obviously, it saves on accidents from people slipping and falling on stripper. This machine that you're showing right now is from Advance, which is also an orbital scrubber. When these machines first came out, this was the first machine I saw. They hadn't come out with that bigger machine yet. This is a 20-inch machine. It does the same thing. Now, orbital scrubber is not like your conventional auto scrubber where the pads spin around in the 360-degree motion. This actually vibrates, almost like a sander does. It uses less water. Even you can use it as a regular auto scrubber too. It uses less water than a conventional auto scrubber. And it, we did a hallway at one of our elementary schools when we did the demo. And although this machine is smaller than the other one, it took it right down to the bare floor. It's really an impressive machine. And the fact that you're not using stripper and only using water, you're saving tons and tons of, stripper and old floor finish that's going to be put down the waste stream. Next slide, please. Currently, we use for our cleaning chemicals 3M twist and fill products. They're super concentrated bottles. They come to 6 bottles in a case, and we buy that instead of buying ready-to-use products. Ready-to-use products take up more space in trucks, deliveries. So to save on waste of truck space and waste of air in the truck, we buy the concentrated. So some of these bottles make up, it depends on which bottle you use, but like one of these bottles can make up to 207 gallons of ready-to-use cleaner. They're all Green Seal certified products that we use, with the exception of the disinfectants, which there is no disinfectant that has a Green Seal certification as of right now. Next slide, please. This is the twist and fill chemical dispenser. As I said, the bottle is concentrated. You put the bottle on the top of the machine and you twist it, and it will come out at the correct dilution. So custodians don't have to handle it. They don't have to try and mix it themselves. Now, in the past, we have had custodians that when they had to mix themselves, they think more chemical is better, and they would glug it, and it's not only unsafe for them, it's a waste of chemical also. So we use the dispensing system, and it works really well for us. Next slide, please. We tested a number of different floor finishes for the high school. All Green Seal certified products, and this particular floor finish green option is made through Franklin Cleaning Technologies. This gave us the best response. It gave us a great, it holds up nicely. It burnishes up very nicely. So we ended up going with that product. And after we opened the high schools, we then went district-wide with the floor finish. So now all the schools are using the green option floor finish. Next slide. This is a product that we tested last summer for the first time. It replaces using regular floor finish. It's a 3M stone floor protector, they call it. Now, the job itself is very labor intensive. You have to strip off all the old floor finish, and make sure that it's all off. And then you have to take diamond disc pads. There's 4 5-inch discs on one pad, and you have to actually go over each spot 6 times. There's a blue pad, and then you have to do the same thing with a red pad with the diamond pad on it. Make 6 passes over the area. After you've done that, they have a purple diamond pad that we can put on our ride-on burnisher, and we burnish the floor. And then you put your first coat on, and 1 coat of this floor protector is 1/10 the thickness of a regular floor finish. It's certified by the National Floor Safety Institute for wet static coefficient of friction greater than 0.60, which equals high traction and low slipping. We did the entire ground floor at Lower Merion High School with this. This picture was taken in January, and I mean, it's holding up very nice. It doesn't scratch. It doesn't give you any black marks. And the amount of floor finish that we saved was probably well over 100 gallons just doing the ground floor with this product. Next slide, please. Currently, right now, we use 2 different water-based gym floor finishes. Hilliard 1907 and Buckeye Arena 300. There is no green seal. I just lost my screen. There is no screen. There is no category for green seal certification for gym floor finishes. But what we looked at was the VOC content of the floor finishes. And here in the state of Pennsylvania, the VOC limit is 350. It has to be 350 or less. The Hilliard is 190 grams of VOC per liter. The Buckeye Arena 300 is under 95 grams. That's about as green as you can get as far as, you know, VOC and fumes. The Hilliard 1907, well, both gym finishes, but especially the Buckeye, has hardly any odor to it. The next slide, please. This is a picture of Harrison's gym floor. This is with the Hilliard 1907 products. Harrison High School gets a lot of use. They not only play basketball in there, but they practice softball, and they have night school that they play tennis in, and so it takes a lot of wear and tear, but it holds up very nicely, as you can see by the picture there. The next slide, please. So this is a fact and figure that one of my vendors that I buy my 3M products from, I asked him for this, and he gave me a chart. So after we had opened the 2 new high schools, and we had bought the Echo machines, we had bought the microfiber for the 2 high schools. For the year 2010, we purchased 186 bottles, which comes out to like 31 cases, 6 in a bottle case. Each bottle makes 207 ready-to-use gallons, so the yearly discharge was 38,502 gallons. As we progressed into the next other couple of schools the next year, you can see that our neutral cleaner usage dropped from 186 to 150, which is about 6.5 to 7,000 gallons less of cleaning solution that went down into the waste stream. And then what really impressed me was last year, 2012, again, as we bought more Echo machines, we bought more microfiber for the other schools. You look at 2010 and you look at 2012, we're down to 96 bottles, and we basically have cut our usage of neutral floor cleaner by 50% just in a couple of years. And you know, that comes out to almost 18,630 gallons of less cleaning chemical that's going down into the waste stream. So we were really impressed with that, and it shows that the machines that we're buying, they're paying for themselves and the less chemicals and stuff that we're using now. This was a cute little thing that we put at the end of our presentation. Kermit saying it's easy being green. My business card.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. No, thank you so much, Mike, for that great presentation. We're going to let's keep going because I know a lot of questions are going to come on from your presentation. So let's keep going. And the next presenter is Olivia Klaus, and Olivia is the Manager of Custodial Services for Howard County Public Schools in Maryland. Olivia has been in her current position for 9 years and has worked in construction and operation offices in K-12 schools for over 20 years. As Manager of Custodial Services, she has implemented many changes to support a successful green cleaning program. In May 2012, Howard County was the first public school system in the nation to receive Green Seal GS42 certification for cleaning and contributing to a healthy and more sustainable environment. So, Olivia, we look forward to your presentation.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to present. So, yeah, so we are a school system that's driven by two goals. And goal number 2, obviously, is to provide a safe and nurturing environment, which, again, drives our organization not only academically, but as a business organization also. Next slide. We are a school system of about 74 schools. That does not include our offices, and enrollment of over 51,000 students, and a square footage of just under 8 million square feet. We also, if you take that into consideration, we're about 3.5 million square feet of vinyl floor tile. In 2005, we began our journey right shortly thereafter when I joined the organization. We'd gotten numerous complaints from our custodial staff that they had problems with being in confined areas and the VOCs at the stripper and the chemicals were putting off. And we also had a very vocal parent at that time at a middle school that her 2 daughters were very sensitive to any chemical. So any change in the environment would send them home. And she stood in front of the Board of Education on numerous times advocating not only for her daughters, but the school system as a whole and all the occupants as to what chemicals we were using. So at that time in 2005, I worked with the Office of Safety, Environment, and Risk Management to see what we could do in order to improve the environment for all the students and staff. So we decided that we would hire an IH, an industrial hygienist, who put monitors on our custodians, put monitors out in the building to test our process of stripping, neutralizing, and the application of our new floor finish both in the VCT and also in our gymnasiums. So we did that test, sent out the results. It came back that the VOCs that the chemicals were emitting were very low and non-toxic. We presented that information to this particular parent, which sort of helped the situation a little, but obviously because of the sensitivity of her children, it became still a problem. So we continued and looked at the process, see how well the particular cafeteria would hold up, because that's the product that we tested in throughout the rest of the 3 months of school. And then that summer we found that the product did a wonderful job considering it was in the cafeteria. So that summertime we started to transition. So from 2005 to 2009, we used about 5,500 gallons of stripper. Now keep in mind, we did not undertake all 74 buildings at that time because it was a huge undertaking. Not only are we changing the product, but we're changing a culture of individuals that have been doing things a certain way for years, some 20, some 30, some only a few. So in order to make this successful, we felt that we needed to integrate this slowly and methodically in training and processes. So that summer, we undertook about 20 buildings that we thought that we could be successful in. So we did. We brought in the vendor, we trained, we did some more training. They went out and did their stripping, and then the managers went out and inspected to ensure that we had gotten the floor down to where it needed to be in order to properly receive our new floor finish. Because preparation, again, is the key. So we did that. We ended up stripping out, again, about 20 buildings the first year. And then we did about 20 more the next year, 15, until eventually in 2012, as you can see, it was a long process to ensure success. So between the 2005 and 2012, we've used almost 6,000 gallons of stripper. And in 2013, we only used 5. So that's a huge source reduction of almost 40 tons of chemical not going in back into the environment annually. So we're very proud of that statistic, proud of the fact that we were able to, again, slowly work through not only change the product, but also change the culture, which very often that's the difficult. You can give every mechanic, every custodian all the tools, but it's not only the tools that make it successful, it's the individuals. Next slide. So again, we continued to do that process, and again, you think about it, 6 billion pounds of chemicals go into the environment annually. So we wanted to do our fair share in trying to reduce them. We also reduced in how we allocate our equipment. So when our equipment goes out and is left this life cycle, it doesn't go back in the environment. We use it for parts, and then we auction all of our equipment, either be condemned or parts, on eBay. That's part of the school system's goal, is to recycle as much as we can and not put it back in the environment. In 2009, Maryland required all K through 12s to procure and use green cleaning products. So again, we were very proud that we were at the forefront. We were on our way to meeting that goal before the state even made it law. Also, we did the environmental preferable products, again, as we talked about, the floor finish, the stripper, the neutralizer. All of our hand soap, glass cleaner, paper products all meet Green Seal, Eco Logo, Environmental Choice, third-party certification. Next slide, please. Our equipment. Again, we are also using the Scrub Ego H2O at our schools. We had our first lead building last year. We put that water scrubber in all of our lead buildings. Right now we have about 5 lead buildings, and that scrubber is in those buildings currently being utilized every day. We also have gone to the gel batteries, so again, to eliminate the possibility of acid. We also recycle our batteries. We send them back to the vendor for recycling. We currently are using all HEPA backpacks that meet not only Green Seal, but also meet the requirements in order to provide a safe environment for the students. We also are using the microfiber system, the microfiber rags, in our schools to eliminate the use of chemicals and also to provide a cleaner environment. Next, please. The water scrubber, as indicated and talked about earlier, we are very proud that we're also using that scrubber. It has been certainly an opportunity to reduce the chemicals. This is one of our VCT floors in a middle school right outside a cafeteria that hasn't been stripped for 6 years. The particular middle school we talked about earlier, that's going on 8 years that has not been stripped. So again, as we progress year after year, we're going in and doing a top scrub and doing a recoat. So taking it completely down, is not a part of our program anymore, and again, we're very proud. Next slide. The certifications, as indicated, we are Green Seal 42. We are very proud to be the first K through 12 in the country to receive that. We're complying and making sure that every opportunity to have third-party certification that we do receive. Next, please. Also in our program is Lean and Six Sigma. We thought it important that if not only are we using the proper chemicals, the proper equipment, and doing the source reduction, we also wanted to get our closets organized. We want to make sure that it's the most efficient and safe place for our staff to work. Organization, labeling, MSDS sheets are accessible for all to have access to when needed. So that's part of our program now. Next, please. Our custodial carts are all organized. Each tray is labeled, so if there's a spray bottle there, that if it's missing, you know it's missing. Everything clearly identified, and as part of their annual, semi-annual review, they get two reviews every year, and the custodial closet and the custodial carts are part of their review. They're inspected to ensure that they are keeping them organized and safe throughout the year. Next, please. This is the organization of the closet that at some of our schools that would look like that. We are not only concerned about our students, but we're also concerned about the environmental impact, the social impact, and the economic impact. It's very important. We are also concerned about the energy. We work very hard with our custodial teams to communicate and process through as much energy savings as we can. We've had a significant reduction in energy costs through our 75 schools, 74 schools, 2 offices, in our emails, in our conversations, and in our commitment to reduce energy. So again, we were very proud to receive the Green Cleaning Award from American School and University. 42, our energy savings, recycling. We're also composting at 2 schools to see how well we can do with that. And again, we try to be the leaders throughout the state. Next, please. This is our one of our elementary schools that's LEED certified. Just to show you Northfield, and that's also the one where we had also been fortunate enough to get our Green Seal certification. That Green Seal certification was presented to our office in front of the Board of Education, which was also highlighted and is recorded, so can be streamed and televised to the community and the general public. So that was our certificate in front of the board and the superintendent of schools. And that is our award there for Green Seal. Next, please. In the future, the green cleaning. I cannot emphasize enough training. Training is a huge component of every custodial team's success, as I indicated earlier. With the change of product, the change of methods, the change of culture, it was training. With the Green Seal certification of 42, you have to have the initial 24-hour training. Then you have to have 12 hours annually. We also have an opportunity in our school system, and we're very proud of that, that we also have what we call a Master Custodial Track training for custodians who aspire to be supervisors. We also have a Master Custodial Supervisor track for those that are current supervisors or newly promoted, that basically is 40 hours of training in order to help them be successful. We have ongoing refresher training to, again, keep them at the forefront of any changes in technology and in the industry in general. We're also looking at a work management software because we do inspections. We assess grades just like the kids get. That feedback's given back to the principal if they get an A or a B, and offer feedback. and then also additional training if need be. We're also considering the ATP meter to not only measure for cleanliness, but we also want to measure for health. So we're also taking a look at that. Again, the sustainability, environmental preferred products as we change, as industry changes. 6-7 years ago, green was not at the forefront. Now it's at the forefront. If you're not doing green processes, you will not be picked up as contract cleaners, nor will you be successful in the public sector as we continue our journey for ongoing continuous improvement. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Olivia. I really appreciate that. I could hear you. I would love to listen to you speak just about your training one day, just for a full session. Hopefully, we'll have you back. Our next presenter is Alan Rudd, and I would love to introduce Alan, who's a Director of Custodial Services for Aramark Temple University's Health Science Center. He has been in the business for over 38 years, 30 of which were in healthcare and most recently in higher education. He's a certified healthcare environmental services professional and individual certification expert. Alan was a sergeant in the U.S. Marine Corps and has a degree in management from St. Joseph's University, married, 4 kids, 3 grandkids, and he loves to cook. So Alan, please take it away, all yours.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it. And thank you to the other 2 speakers who did a great job. One of the things you'll notice, if you haven't already, is the synergy in some of the technologies that we share. And that doesn't surprise me because you have to keep up with this technology world, which is dynamic and rapidly changing. But what I'm going to be talking about is blue cleaning, which is, in my opinion, beyond green cleaning because we're using EAW, which you've heard mentioned, where we eliminate the use of chemicals to create the most environmentally responsible approach to cleaning. Next slide, please. Now, I would just say imagine no cleaning chemical odors, no volatile organic compounds or VOCs that you have mentioned earlier, no chemical usage or waste, no packaging waste, no transportation emissions, and more importantly, no chemical residue on the surfaces that you clean. And that's what blue cleaning brings to you as an innovative operation. Next slide, please. The components of blue cleaning, we pretty much in Aramark go through this in 3 different phases: technology, training, and touch. The technology is where we introduce the blue cleaning and the EAW, and training, the young lady just mentioned how you have to bring your team into the use of the new technology because you're breaking old habits. And in this case, in blue cleaning, to tell somebody that you're going to have them clean something with regular tap water, it's not something that's always well received until they see its results and you prove to them that it's something worthy of replacing what they've been using forever. And then, of course, the touch is where you create the engagement and bring people in after you get them to buy into it, to exercise it every day faithfully, and the environmental traits of it is outstanding. Next slide, please. If you look at this slide, the illustration basically lets you know that you can take regular tap water and with an electric charge, as Mike mentioned earlier, it creates the EAW process, which is where we get blue cleaning from. Next slide. The first phase of the 3 that I mentioned in technology, training, and touch, technology is where we would talk about all the different things that we utilize in our systems as it relates to blue cleaning. Of course, we talked about the electrically activated water, and then we also use the same scrubbers that was mentioned by the other 2 speakers. That technology is great. It works, and it's certainly one of the best environmentally friendly tools that you can implement. We've used microfiber as well, which means we have no mops and buckets, and we use this surface power pad that was mentioned earlier, and no chemicals to strip and scrub floors, and folks probably never heard of that, but it actually works. And then we use the self-activate ionized water handheld units. As you can see in the illustration, that's what the young lady is using in Temple's medical school. And as far as the future is concerned, you know, when you have a team out there that focuses on the technology and the changes, we don't always adopt all of the new technology. We go for what the right technology is. And that's what's going to be our focus moving forward as technologies evolve to enhance our blue cleaning program here at Temple. Next slide, please. Now, when you talk about the training, we talked about the initial resistance, the cultural change for the employee. There were so many non-believers, so we had to go through extensive training. We've been using blue cleaning technology since 2011. We've had this account here at Temple since 2007, and a lot of our employees, like Olivia, were long-term folks who had no confidence in the fact that you could take regular tap water and turn it into a cleaning agent. So we carefully went through the process, and they started to see through results how it was an effective program. And then when we distributed those handheld devices, and they actually got better results in many cases than they were getting with the chemicals, that brought extreme buy-in. We reduced our chemical usage, so that simplified the amount of MSDS tracking that we had to deal with, and the stocking of the janitor's closets became elementary because all of the chemicals were eliminated, so you have more space to be neat, clean, and organized in your facilities. And as we created those believers, we were able to get more done. We actually had a lot of success in carpet stain removal, and the third phase that we went into, which is touch, where we get the engagement of the employees. Aramark has actually partnered with Temple University. They have a facilities degree program, and I actually go to those classes and teach the technology that we're using. And we have an internship in partnership with Temple as well, where those students actually get to work with us and see the results of the technology that they were introduced to. Communication-wise, Temple uses a lot of flat screen technology to display different things and communicate with the students, and so they've displayed our blue cleaning technology on their flat screens. And we're also very much involved in Temple's sustainability committee, and they partner with us with the technology and ability to enhance their sustainable process. Next slide, please. As a result of implementing the program, we endured a significant cost savings as well as a minimization of the supplies that we use, both in cleaning and in the tools that we use. Of course, the students love it. We had an actual student who bragged to his parents how he doesn't have any respiratory ailments or any problems with his allergies because the housekeepers are just using tap water to clean with, and they didn't believe what he was saying until they actually came to visit him and seen it for themselves. We also have a storage issue that is much more positive. The inventory piece has been decreased, and the education technology in this regard ended up being cool because all the students are talking about how you can just clean with water, splash it on your face, use it, get it on yourself, not worry about it, breathe it, smell it, and it has no effect. So that's the first time I've ever heard people refer to technology solutions as cool. Next slide, please. And this is the result of what I was just referring to. The allergies, asthma, chemical burns that you would get from chemicals, eye injuries, odors, respiratory issues, all of that went away. And it also helped improve the floor traction to reduce the slip, trip, and fall situations, because sometimes chemicals will get on a hard surface floor, mix with something else, and create a hazard. And that certainly has been significantly reduced by just using the EAW process. Next slide. As you can see from this slide, Aramark has this technology implemented across over 100 different locations in the US of A, and it's been extremely successful, and it certainly is beyond green cleaning with huge success in technology. Next slide. So basically, we talked about the quantifiable economics, the success from that, the employee and campus health and wellness support and recognition, because the students have no fears. The results are just as outstanding, if not better. And in some cases, if you know anything about carpet care, one of your biggest challenges are the chemicals that you have to put into the carpets to maintain them. The EAW process turned out to be more effective than the chemicals that we were using for carpet care, and we've had better results. The commitment to sustainability, we partnered with Temple University. We have been part of their climate action plan. Certainly the blue cleaning was a huge step in the right direction. And as far as campus engagement, we couldn't get more support from the students, the faculty, and the folks that we serviced. And on the flat screen, which you'll see in the caption that I put out there, it says, ask the campus experts. And we get a lot of inquiries and calls from the folks that visit Temple to ask about the blue cleaning technology, and some of them even come and want to see it in action, and the results speak for themselves. Next slide. So as you can see in the last slide, that is a caption of the Green Cleaning Award, the grand award that we received in 2012, and I was pretty proud of that because we started using the technology a year before we got the awards in 2011. So that just goes to show you the impact of what we were able to accomplish and what our operations excellence team was able to introduce us to, and we get the success from their research of the technology that's out there. So it's been real positive for us, and we're pretty proud of it.
Alan, thank you so much for your presentation. Now, we're actually all week so quickly, time flies by. So we're actually already out of our hour. I would like to continue because I do know we have a number of questions that came in. I'd also like to, before we do anything, I'd like to say if your school or you know a school wants to apply for the 2013 Green Cleaning Awards, go to asumag.com, Green Cleaning Award, and download the application. We'd love to see your schools apply and get recognition and highlight the excellent work. Before we do, I just want to make sure that it's all right, that you guys are able to stick around for a few more minutes. You got it? And so please just take a moment to tell us if you can, and if you can, we'll try to answer a few of your questions. And it looks like people want to stick around for about 10 more minutes. All right, so speakers, if that's all right with you, we're going to now take a few questions. So Alex Scheibel from Healthy Schools Campaign, will you now please point some directions to our questions for our speakers?
Great. Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you to all of our speakers for giving such great presentations. So we have a number of questions that are coming in. Please feel free to keep sending them in, and we will get to them. So the first question is if our speakers could take a little bit of time to reflect on the biggest challenges that you encountered in implementing your program. So any of the speakers, feel free to jump in.
Let's start with Mike. Mike, do you have a question, a thought of your biggest challenge?
Probably getting the custodians, you know, especially the old-timers. They're so used to their set ways. Just getting them adapted and getting them used to using the new microfiber system. They had no trouble with the auto scrubbers, especially at the high schools because we bought a ride-on echo machine. They love that because we have a lot of hallways. But yeah, there's some resistance at the beginning with the microfiber, but as they get used to it and start working with it, they've come to like it a lot.
Yeah, I'll back that up and say with our experience, we definitely see a lot of resistance to change in general. Olivia, do you have any thoughts on your greatest obstacles?
Well, I have a tendency to agree. Again, the change in the culture is the hardest thing to do. I mean, but I think it's one of those things you have to work closely with your teams, ensure that the change is for the better. I mean, you go back to years ago, if it didn't smell right, it must not be working. But then you also need to explain, again, in the holistic sense, what is that doing to your body? What is that doing to your organs every time you breathe those VOCs? So you have to wrap it around how it impacts them, not how it impacts necessarily the kids, even though that's the most important piece, but how it's impacting them. So it's one of those educational pieces you have to take the time to really sit down, discuss, and continue to have that dialogue for days, months, and even years, because changing someone that's been around for 20, 30 years is a difficult task.
And how about you, Alan? What was your number one obstacle?
Well, you know, I manage a union shop, and any kind of change is going to create resistance, and this one was the ultimate because now you're talking about cleaning with simply tap water. So we very carefully, as Olivia and Mike mentioned, you have to communicate. They're coming out of their comfort zone. it's all going to be about the results. So it really came to fruition as they looked at the results of the process.
Great. Thank you so much. This question is for Alan. Alan, are there any cleaning needs that you are not able to use the activated water for?
Every now and then we'll run into some very difficult stain removal as it relates to carpet care, where we would have to revert to the use of a stronger chemical. But other than that, we've had huge success with it. But that does come up intermittently, so we do have a small inventory of those chemicals as a backup.
Great, thank you so much. A question for Olivia. Olivia, can you speak a little bit about the process of what you had to go through to become GS42 certified?
Well, I can't say it was an easy process. It probably was about 1.5 years. I mean, you have to obviously have the Green Seal or third-party certification on the chemicals, the paper products, sort of the same requirements that you guys have in your application. And then also talking about equipment, you need to do a preventative maintenance, scheduled quarterly inspection on your equipment. You have to keep the documentation. You have to develop the communication plan, a site-specific plan, and also a green cleaning policy. So it's very detailed, and again, it's not an easy process to go through, but it's certainly well rewarding. And to have that, and we've also shared our green cleaning policy with other K-12 school systems in the state of Maryland. So it's well worth it, but it's a long journey.
Great, thanks, Olivia. And then the next question is for Alan. We actually had a number of questions come about this, Alan, and I'm not sure if it's something you can speak to, but people want to know what the difference between electrically activated water and then the Lotus Pro ozone system. I don't know if that's a system that you're familiar with, but if it's possible to speak to the difference, that would be great. If not, I think Mark Bishop on our end might be able to jump in.
Well, you know, only thing I can say about that is our technology team did look at the ozone process, but we didn't buy into that. We chose the EAW, so I don't know much about the ozone process, but I would think it was not as worthy as what we're using now, because if it was, I'm sure that's what they would have chosen.
I'll jump in here, Mark Bishop. I do know a lot of these different systems have applications that would work, better or worse in different settings. While I can't tell you the technical difference of how one is produced versus the other, I do know I recently saw a Lotus Pro system being installed in a school. It does serve a slightly smaller square footage size building, which served the school that I was at very well in a different way than that would not have been appropriate for the Temple University I know. So I think what happens is they all have different attributes. They all have different installation properties. They all have different ways of distributing the product. So I think the responsibility does fall. It's not that one works best, but the responsibility ultimately has to fall on a school to review the products and make a decision on what works for his or her facility most effectively.
Mark, isn't the shelf life real minimal for the ozone process as well?
There is one. That is a difference. The shelf life for the activated water, I believe, stored properly could be a matter of weeks, and for the activated water would be a matter of hours.
Exactly.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Another question came in wanting to know if any of the speakers use steam vapor technology or if you've tried it.
I do have one that we bought a couple of years ago, and seems to work pretty well. I haven't had the opportunity to use it a lot, but where we have used it, it does a nice job.
Can you speak a little bit about how you use it, Mike, and what cleaning needs you use it for?
We've used it in restrooms, locker rooms. We've used them in the cafeteria areas. We tried them on carpet, but the carpets were so dirty that, I mean, it just like, it took off so much dirt on the carpet you know, the carpet needed to be extracted really first before we could use the steamer, because it was actually taking up so much dirt. It was, and we did baseboards with it, and it seems to work pretty well.
Great, thanks, Mike. So I think we're going to take one last question, and I apologize if we didn't get to your questions. What we'll do is we'll go through them and be sure to send you answers, share them with our speakers, and send you answers to them later this week. But our final question is for Olivia, wanting to know what process change did you implement to go from yearly stripping to the 6-year cycle that you're now on? I think that was a really striking change that you made in your program that you shared. So if you could speak a little bit about that, that would be great.
Well, we were very fortunate when we started to do our research, and again back in 2005, looking for a floor finish that would certainly meet our needs for some durability and also meet the needs for the VOCs. And we were lucky enough to find a particular product that did both. And in doing so, it was a product that also said it can last for years if it's properly maintained. So part of the maintenance of the floors is obviously in the mechanic, either male or female, that's maintaining that floor. So the product has had a long-lasting effect in the buildings. It all goes down to the TLC that the mechanic at the school is giving it. If it's maintained and protected, and same thing with the walk-off matting, and the dirt's kept outside, then they can be maintained. As again, we have not stripped that first middle school that we stripped in 2005. So for 8 years, it's well maintained, taken care of, and we have not stripped it. So again, we've been very fortunate to utilize this particular product, and that's been a blessing for us, and certainly for the schools and for the environment. So again, we're very proud of it, and that was through our research that we did 8 years ago, and we continue to still use that product. We have a bidding cycle, obviously, because we're public money, so we have rebidded every year. The particular floor care has no urethane, so it doesn't yellow, and it's zinc-free. So those are important components, especially back in 2005, and continue to be today.
Great. Thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you again to all of our speakers. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules, and thank you to everybody who was able to join us today. As Mark mentioned, we will be posting a recording of the webinar and each of the presenter slides online, and you'll receive an email at the end of the week with information on where to access that. So thank you again, everybody, and we hope you're able to join us for our additional webinars this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.